When I think of the Red Cross, I think of that embracing factor, almost like when you give a friend that you haven't seen in a long time a hug.
A friendly face, just a warm, welcoming presence.
When I think of the Red Cross, I remember the time that I went to the offices on Veterans Day and we made cards for all the service members.
There are so many things that go through my mind when I think of Red Cross. Is it a safe haven, a comfort level, comfort zone?
When I think of the Red Cross, I think of all the services they provide to people in times of need.
I think of a family who's had a house fire and has nowhere to go on a cold night. A family who's had a house fire loses everything. And when the Red Cross comes, they know that there's someone that will take care of them and they'll have somewhere to go tomorrow.
There will always be someone there to actually lend out those arms to assist, whether that be through blood services, disaster services, or teaching other individuals through health and safety courses as well.
And I also think any kind of natural catastrophe, Katrina, Haiti, American Red Cross is in the front lines, leading the charge to help people who really need and are in a desperate situation.
It's the Red Cross, they're there on the front lines.
I certainly think of natural disasters, but I also think of the local people in need. It isn't just national disasters that they help, it's your friends and neighbors. And it is an important part of your community.
Well, back in 1968, I started to work for the highway department, and there was a lady on the floor, and she would go down the hall and say, "Red Cross, Red Cross," and she'd get 4 or 5 people in the car, she'd get the state car and go. And that's how it started. I picked it up, and I'm every 2 weeks now. I'd always ask the nurse, I said, "Well, where am I going today?" It was Detroit, New York, Chicago, Ann Arbor even, Grand Rapids, parts of me are all over the country. So this particular day, as she was getting ready, I said, "Well, where am I going today?" The nurse, she looked down at her paperwork and she says, "Ed, today you're going to a local hospital, 7-year-old boy with leukemia." I said, "Well, today he's getting high octane." And the very next day, I walked into the eye doctor's office for the annual checkup. And I was sitting in the chair and the nurse was getting the paperwork, and I asked her, "How is your family?" She looked at me and she said, "Well, I have a 13-year-old daughter, I have a 10-year-old daughter, and I have a 7-year-old boy, a local hospital with leukemia." That day, 2 and 2 added up to 4. I said, "Ma'am, you won't believe it." I said, "Yesterday I was at the Red Cross, and I related what the nurse said to me about the boy in the hospital. And the nurse stood there, and she started, and all she could say was, 'Thank you, thank you, thank you.' And that's the only time I've come face to face with the love of a mother. And that, to me, was a statement of what the Red Cross is all about."
At any time, you may run into a situation where CPR is necessary.
This is one thing that you can do not only for your family, but for your community, and it doesn't require a lot of effort and a lot of time.
Being a first responder, it becomes awfully critical.
Learning CPR and using an automated external defibrillator or an AED device is very important. Taking these health and safety courses, you're not only better educating yourself, but you're able to better educate the community as well.
You never know when you're going to be faced with a situation that you could save a life.
One gentleman in the class, you know, he watched his dad just pass away right in front of him because he couldn't help him. And he got into the class and got certified, and then he was able to help someone else that would be in that trouble. And I didn't want to put myself in that position either.
I think it saves lives. And I think that everyone should learn CPR and should learn how to save another life.
You never know when you're going to be in a situation that you're going to need CPR.
Every friend that I have that is going to be a grandparent, I tell them the story and be sure that they had infant CPR. He was born 7 weeks early. We brought him home from the hospital. He'd been home for just maybe 2 days. She went to the grocery store. He was sitting in his car seat because he had acid reflux, and that was the safest place for him to be. He needed to be upright all the time. And he started coughing a little bit and suddenly just dropped his head and wasn't breathing. What I knew took over, and there wasn't a thought process to it. It was instinct, and I knew what I was supposed to do. I picked him up, looked him over, and turned him over, and was able to pat him on the back, and then turned him back over and listened for the heartbeat. My sister was with me. She ran outside and was yelling for the neighbors to dial 911. I think if I hadn't had the training, and especially having just renewed it within the 6 months before he was born, I think I would have panicked and I wouldn't have known what to do and probably just been hysterical. So the idea that I could save him, hi, save him and have this wonderful, wonderful little boy in our lives has been a true blessing.
We need to learn more. We need to understand about these types of emergencies.
Seconds count, seconds matter. And the American Red Cross that gives back the education program, the piece that people need in order to save a life. There's nothing more important, nothing more precious.
Because of my personal experience, because of the class I took, and the knowing that I needed to know CPR to be the best grandma, I was able to save my grandson, Eric. So it's very personal to us. Hi, Eric. I love you.
There are a lot of people out there who want to help, and they just don't know that they can in such simple ways.
To look at the people that we've helped and to know that there are still many people out there that we can help, that's an awesome feeling inside.
The Red Cross is not funded by the government. It depends on contributions of everyone in the community and people throughout the world too, to extend their service everywhere where it's needed.
Funded by the generosity of the people supporting the Red Cross.
It's important to donate to the Red Cross because you just never know when you're going to be the person who needs their help.
You have to consider what would you do without the Red Cross? Who else is going to step up if it isn't the Red Cross?
Don't sit on the fence. Get up and do something. Get them in there and help